All right.
What
What's
up,
up?
folks?
We're back again. Post New Year's chat. We got a follow-up question. If anybody tuned into that last episode, did you come up with your word this year, Elise?
I did. I
What you
did.
got?
Um, for us as coaches, it may be a little um automatically assumed, but I'm gonna say leadership because I know as coaches we're supposed to be, leaders in the gym. That's already implied, but I really want to put that forward into motion. Again, just really focusing more on my nutrition, which I have been more recently. And then also just for outside the gym, on the down low at my full-time gig, I'm supposed to be, fingers crossed, getting a promotion into a leadership role where I'll have people under me. So
That's
just
awesome.
getting into that mindset, and just like
I I
taking
think that's
acceptance
spot
for
on.
leadership.
Spot on with what we talked about last time as well. Leading by action, which I think is a huge difference. And I'll admit it's hard sometimes. There's a lot
Yep,
of moments that I do not want to do what I'm supposed to do in that, but I have to like think, okay, if you don't do it right now, you cannot be upset when someone else doesn't do it.
correct.
Um, so I think that's a really good one. I would say that if there was a word that I picked, it'd probably be something very similar. Um, just because it's something I've been mulling about, reading about, and like really asking the question, like what actually does make a good leader, and trying to answer that, which I think is a very challenging thing to answer. And I think it's definitely something that I've done things wrong and done things right and learned the hard
Yep,
way and so on and so forth. But I think account leadership and accountability, like
yeah,
personal accountability, looking myself in the mirror and asking, are you doing what you think you should be doing, or are you
right.
really not and you're
Yep.
acting like it? So I think that's a big part of it. And for anybody listening in, we said it last time, you don't have to be in a leadership role at your job to be a leader. Like you can literally
Correct.
be a leader for anybody and just yourself, right?
Yep.
You can be the leader of yourself and hold yourself to a standard and accountability, and that's only going to make everything you're trying to do or goals work
Yep.
better,
Lead by
you know?
example. And I think the other thing that comes with that too, Nate, is one thing that I definitely have difficulty with is having the difficult conversations. So if someone is not doing what they're supposed to, and it's like, hey, like you need to start doing this. Like now, you know, yeah, we're friends, but we're at work, like I'm your boss. Like if you don't start doing this shit, there's gonna be repercussions. So it's just
I think
having that
there's
that conversation.
I have a couple thoughts immediately on that difficult conversation. My first actual thought is it's usually not as bad as you think it's going to be in your head. Like that's
Hmm.
a hard hump to get over, but every time I have done it, because I mean, I think everybody can kind of struggle with it, whether you're used to them or not. It's not a fun thing to do, but every time I've done it, I always walk away and I'm like, wasn't fun, but I'm like,
Yeah.
that was okay. Because I mean, at the
Yep.
end of the day, I don't think most people want to have a confrontation. So that's
Correct.
like that's my first thought of that, and my second thought of that is, I talked a little bit about finding a coach that's going to tell you the hard truth. Last call, those hard truths are actually caring,
Yes.
right? And I think a lot of times we get really empathetic and we care and we let our emotional you know, our feelings come into place, and I'm like, man, I should tell Elise this, I should tell Elise this, and I don't because I don't want to hurt your feelings because I care. But then in reality, I'm not actually helping you. So the
Yeah.
true care is me having that hard conversation with you and being like, dude, I am doing this because I do want to see you do better. I do want this to work out.
Yep.
Otherwise, I don't have to say shit to you and slowly watch you burn, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
No,
think
that's 100%,
I
100%
remind
true.
myself that all the time. I'm like, if we really do want to work this out or be better,
Yep.
that is a part of this situation. I just had to have a conversation
Yep.
with the coach the other day about saying hello to people, and I'm like, super simple, man.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
he took it fine. He was like, heard.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you right now, it's been a glaring difference the last few weeks. And I'm like,
Hey,
dude,
sweet.
I would still be so angry inside if I didn't do that and having that
Yep.
resentment. So
Yep. And then
that's
I
a
I
tricky one.
remember I remember I was talking to, I worked with a, uh, not a psychologist, like a therapist. I had something with my insurance, like, oh, you can do this, and it was all online. I was like, okay, cool, might as well, talk therapy is cool. Talk therapy is great. Like, it's great for your mental capacity and just someone that's a third party. And we were working on that, and she's like, you cannot be worried about how they're going to react. You can only control how you react, and that's what they feed off of. And I was like, huh, I never thought of it that way. Because again, like you said, you're always worried about how they're going to feel, but how are you going to feel if you don't say anything? You
And
know?
that, and I think a really spot on statement is they're going to feed off of how you react, right? I'm in a role to give coaches feedback all the time. And yes, there's good things that I get to say, and those are fun to say. But then 100%, there's always something, and even for myself, if I watch myself coach, that you're like, you don't want to hear that you did bad, but how it's presented is a massive difference.
Yep.
Is 100%. And I think if you come on the attack, they immediately have to defend
Oh,
the
for sure.
attack. Versus if you
They're
don't come on
they're
the
fending
attack,
off.
yeah, if you don't come on the attack, it's a lot more of a, I'm going to absorb this information. And I am not saying they're going to walk out feeling good. They're
Correct.
probably
Yeah,
going to
no,
walk
of
out because
course.
I do every time. They're probably going to walk out feeling a little salty.
Uh-huh.
And I know I do this, and I'm going to mull over it for a little bit. And then I'm going to kind of come to terms, and I'm going to make those adjustments.
Yep.
Right. And I think it's totally okay to feel salty because that means you also care. If you
Correct.
get feedback and you're like, whatever,
I mean, yeah, you
you're
don't
probably
care.
not in the position you should be in, and you probably shouldn't be doing what you're being in because you don't care. So,
Yep.
with that being said,
Hmm.
we were going to talk about scaling today,
Scaling's
and
cool, guys.
certainly it is cool. It is cool, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's actually a lot of times the harder workout. We'll circle back to that because I think
Mhm.
that is not understood sometimes.
Yep.
But talk about delivering feedback, and sometimes of a hard truth. Sometimes you got to take some weight off the bar or
Yep.
scale some reps down. Right? That's 100% a feedback loop that we're going to do all the time. Whether you're a coach or an athlete, I think this is a really good topic to understand, and it is a path to better fitness, which
Yes. Yes.
I think is not what's always thought of when we scale. Because how many times do you get somebody score, ask them how they do, and what do they say if they scaled?
Yeah. Oh,
But
I did really well. Like that, like I worked hard and I pushed and I feel really good.
I think when they hit the nail on the head, that is a feeling they definitely have. And I've also run into the statement of, "Oh, I got 10 blah blah blah," which was the stimulus, and they go, "But I scaled," and I'm like, "Awesome!
Yeah.
That we should high five. That's exactly what you should have done." So
Yes.
I think sometimes there's like this, "Oh, but I didn't do as much as I should have," and that is not the case.
That's it's so I think first off, scaling is a mindset, right? We're trying to readjust the mindset of what scaling is. And, you know, maybe scaling's not the right word, but it's the word that we use. But people are like, "Oh, like that means it's easier." And like
It
I won't be able
doesn't
to
at
go as far.
all.
And that's not true. That is absolutely not true because you are, we talk about the stimulus and RX, right? So the scaling is your RX. And that's what people need to think about.
And
I
let's unpack RX real quick because I think
okay.
this will make more sense. That was a great statement. Scaling is their personal RX. Remember what RX stands for. That means prescription,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if we reworded it like you're saying right now, and I say, Elise, your personal prescription is, in my opinion, that sounds a hell of a lot better. That sounds like a personal training session, a one-on-one that's usually at a higher value.
Yep.
So why do we look at that differently if we're in a group setting? You know what I
Be
mean?
because we all want
We compare
it's
ourselves,
competition.
right?
We compare ourselves to others. I'm victim of that too. Don't get me
We all
wrong,
are.
you know? And that's human nature, right?
Comparison's the
Um,
thief of joy.
yes. And like and I think this is the other problem too. And again, I'm human. I still go through this. Um, okay, there was a cap workout on Monday. It was an 18-minute EMOM or 16-minute EMOM. Uh, First minute was 5 back squats at 165 for girls and like 245 for guys, I think, if I'm correct.
Heavy.
Yeah, heavy. Okay. And then the other EMOM, we adjusted it. It was supposed to be 10 chest to bar, but we adjusted for our gym. And we did just 30 seconds of strict pull-ups. Um, I was doing my own thing. I jumped in on the squats, but I was thinking to myself, I was like, "Ooh, I think I could do the 165 for for 5, sure." And then
It
I'm
got
thinking in
super
my
real.
head, and I'm like, "Wait, time out. Let's back that up. Let's look at it from afar. You're doing 165 pounds for 5 reps. Okay. So my max is 210. Okay. So that's about what? 70, about 70% ish. I'm really bad with math. For those of you that are math wizards, you know what I'm talking about.
It's moderately heavy enough.
Yes. Okay. So you're doing that. So you're working, let's say 20 seconds, right? 40 seconds rest. Okay. I'm going for my 30 seconds of
It's
max
almost
strict pull-ups.
it's almost 80%, just for a reference. I
80,
just did it.
80%. Thank you. Okay. I am not a math genius. Then you're going for pull-ups. You rest 30 seconds. Okay. So basically, you're only really getting maybe a minute of rest and you got to hit it again 8 times. 8 times 5, I got this, is 40. 40 reps at that weight is a lot. So then I was thinking in my head, oh, that's a high volume for that weight for me, right? I could do 165 for 5 sets, sure.
And and
Okay.
and
And 2 minutes
rest
rest in
rest
between.
and rest like a heavy day, and
Yes.
let that phosphagen system regenerate over the 2 or 3 minute
Yes.
rest you're taking, not do strict
Yes.
pull-ups and keep it moving.
Correct. 100%. So I jumped in the class. I did my stuff and I was like, you know what? I want to do some heavy squats today because I'm trying to add in some squatting at least once a week. I just feel that's just good for my legs, whether it's front squat, overhead squat, or back squat. And I jumped in and I didn't do the pull-up part, but I was still tired from my workout. I was like, damn, I was like, you know what? I probably would have scaled to 145. I think 145 would have been good for me. And granted, yes, I've been doing CrossFit for so long, and this I still scale. You need to scale to hit the stimulus to
I
improve.
think
Period.
most of the population, most should be scaling something in the workout to hit those stimuluses. Like,
Yes.
truly. Like, I really believe that. And I'm gonna like elaborate on that a little bit more. So like, let's unpack scaling. Like, why do we scale? Obviously, the no-brainer that I think you don't have to be a coach day one in the gym can answer this question is we need to get through the workout safely, right? That's the no-brainer one, right?
Yep.
We want to do this for a long time. We want to take it into old age, not go to the nursing home, have a lifetime of fitness. We want to have health. So that's the no-brainer one, right? And then we start to talk about stimuluses and things like that, and if we're defining intensity as speed or load, right, and that is the same thing as results, right? The more intensity I have, that's going to mean the more results I have, more weight on the
Yes.
bar, right?
Yep.
Faster times, things like that. I think people always think, okay, I can do these 185 power cleans. I'm not going to be able to do this workout in 8 to 10 minutes. It's going to take me 16 minutes, right? By
Hmm.
it taking you 16 minutes when it was supposed to take 8 to 10, our intensity and power output is falling over
Drops.
time, and I'm not producing that power output that I should have had on that workout, right?
Yes.
So we say, if I'm able to do more work in a shorter amount of time, that's defining my fitness in part, than doing a longer time, then you kind of miss that mark a little bit, right?
Yep.
So as far as like getting fitter, and that's why I made the statement earlier that sometimes a scaled workout is harder than the RX workout, because the
Hmm.
RX workout, I'm going to drop the barbell. The RX workout is I'm going to take more breaks on Murph because I have a weight vest and I'm going to move slower. I'll tell you, it hurts way fucking worse to go no weight vest, do full range of motion push ups and air squats, and try to get back out the door for that second mile run in 20 minutes, which is 100% doable. It's 20 rounds of Cindy, right?
Yep. Yep.
It's going to
Yep.
be way harder than a workout than to double that time with a weight vest and be like, but I did a weight vest,
Yeah.
right? So we talk about power outputs and how those are going to increase. That's going to bring you more fitness,
Yes.
you know? So I really do think sometimes scaling the workout is worse.
Yes. You
Thrusters are
mean,
my favorite
yep.
example of that. How many times have you had, because you're strong, how many times have you had a light thruster that you've got to go completely unbroken with? How painful is that?
Oh, that hurts like a motherfucker.
It's
God.
awful.
Yep.
How painful is doing a heavy set that you're doing sets of 5 and dropping the barbell?
Yeah. No.
It's not as bad. It's hard. I'm
It's
not saying
heavy,
it's
but
not
it's
hard,
slow. It's slow.
but it's slow. Your heart rate's a little bit lower. You're a
Yep.
lot more chill on it. It's a lot more, you're dropping the barbell, it's sitting on the floor for 20 seconds, 30 seconds before you're picking it
Yep.
back up. So truly, truly, and anybody that listens to this, I'm gonna challenge you to do this. Just take the next week and scale workouts and try to hit those stimuluses that your coach is saying. Watch how you're laid out on the floor after that and doing the bacon sizzle.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know the bacon sizzle, Elise?
Yep.
When you have to roll back and forth on the floor because it hurts
Once
so
one
bad.
and plus once I know how to work my sound effects on my little podcast thing here, I'm gonna add the
You'll be
bacon
able to.
sizzle on there too. Yeah. So okay, so today's cap workout was oh God, it was a shit ton of double unders and toes to bar. It was 100 double unders, then 20 toes to bar, 80 double unders, 20 toes to bar. Basically going all the way down to 20 double unders, 20 toes to bar. Okay, so that was 100 toes to bar. That's a fucking a lot of toes to bar. And I was like, guys,
For a
this is
lot
a
of people,
shit
that's going
ton.
to be a problem.
Yes. So I was like, first of all, I was like, we're not. I should have said this, but I didn't. I was like, we're not Coach Paige, who's a coach in our gym. For those of you that don't know, that is
Stud
an elite
athlete.
athlete. Yeah, she's very, very good. Okay. Um, she'll probably be able to do that whole workout in under 10 minutes, which is the stimulus. So I was like, first of all, we are cutting that down to 15 reps. And I was like, we need to break those reps up into no more than 2 sets. So whether that means kipping knee above the hips, kipping knees to elbow, or you just go on the ground and we do V-ups, okay? Whatever that is, you need to break that up into no more than 2 sets every time. Whatever you think you're going to do for the workout, even err on the side of caution and do something that's a little bit easier and keep up the intensity. I had people listen and they hit the stimulus, and I had people that are like, no, I'm gonna go for 20, and they did not hit the stimulus. They made it in like 12 minutes, and I'm like,
And
that
the
was
people
not the
that scaled,
point.
was it hard?
Oh yeah, they came off like, oh, my shoulders. I was like, dude, because the double unders and you're hanging off the rig, yeah, it's very shoulder intensive, guys.
And I have so many thoughts in my head. We're coaches, or maybe you're listening to this and you've been doing CrossFit for a long time or something that's similar for a long time, and you can look at a workout and go, oof, that's going to be a problem, right? You learn that over time. I remember my first 2 weeks, nothing was a problem, and I started every workout as fast as I physically could,
Hmm.
right? And I learned
The
within the first
CrossFit
90
trap.
seconds I'm in trouble, right?
Yep.
We've all been there at least one time. So a lot of people just don't know. They look at it and they go, "Oh, it's 20. I can do 20." Right?
Hmm.
We had a workout the other day that had wall walks in it. And it was 10 rounds, and I think it was three wall walks around. And they go, "Oh, it's three." And I'm like, "No, it's not three. It's
Uh-huh.
30." Right? When's the last time you did 30 in a workout? And that was one of the questions that I prompted for a couple people, and they were like, "No, it's normally around 10 or 15." And I'm like, "Okay, we're doubling today. I know it's three per round, but it's 30." So a lot of times people just don't really
Look at the full
know
picture.
yet. Look at the full picture and know what's going to happen. So like as a coach and as an athlete, we gotta fuck around and find out sometimes,
Yep.
and do some testing and little
Yep.
experiments before we actually go into that workout to figure out where things are going to go.
Yep.
So toes bar is a great example. Hey, jump
Yes.
on up, give me a set of 10. Those that can get through the 10 unbroken and they come off unfazed, it's also definitely If you're an athlete, you got to come off and say, okay, I did those 10 unbroken, but holy crap, that was a max effort feeling
Yep.
set. That is your sign to not do 20.
Mm-hmm.
And as a coach, look for those the body language cues on that as well. If somebody does go, or if somebody comes off the bar and they jump back up and they go 5 and 5, like if you broke that up,
Yep.
that's also your sign. So like having guidance in these little feelers that we can go through in our general warm up, specific warm up, and things like that to help people also feel what's about to happen.
Yep.
And those of you that are listening, if you're going, oh, but I don't want to waste my toes to bar and hit a 10 unbroken before I start the
Yeah.
WOD. If you've got 100 in the WOD that you're planning on doing and you're worried about the 10 before the workout,
That's your
there's
first clue. That's your
there's
first
your
clue.
sign. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to say put your members or go through an entire round of the workout
Correct.
at full speed. Like you don't have to do that every class. Like if you're maybe prepping for a quarterfinals or semifinals workout and you're really trying to have some good data, yeah, that might be the thing to do. For warm-up purposes too. But like you've got to help guide, and also, if you're working out by yourself, you've got to feel it sometimes to really know
Yep.
what that answer is and should I scale and be honest
Yep.
with yourself.
Yep.
That's a big one.
Yep. And I think that the other problem too, like we talked about it earlier, is comparing ourselves to others. Like we all compete in class, okay? We all talk shit. Oh, like you only lifted this today. Well, I did this today. Like it's good competition fun, right? But
A hundred
it
percent. And
also
and
comes to a point where it's like I'm real okay, no, like I really need to hit this RX because like you feel like you have to and you don't.
you don't. And Glassman has a quote, and it's, men will die for points on a leaderboard. So
Yes.
taking our times, having our metrics on what we loaded the bar with and lifted that day, like they are measurable. We can see if our workouts, are improving, if we're getting fitter and things like that. That is why we do that. But then that second reason is if me and you were doing a Metcon together, like I want to beat you.
Yes.
And that's going to help me have some intensity, right? That's part of what
Yep.
what the magic is. You're with a group of people, especially in a really hard workout that we're all suffering. That does not mean that we have to do the same thing. I am still going to try to beat you whether you're scaling something or not, right? Plain and simple.
Yep.
But I'm still doing my prescription. You're still doing
Yes.
your prescription. So that
Yes.
shouldn't dictate it. And at the end of the day, what did um, Coach Page get 3 weeks ago on a Tuesday in her Metcon? You don't know.
Yeah. Yep. Not a
How would
clue.
you know that? Right. So you win the day at your gym. Awesome. Kudos. You can get some likes on whatever platform you use.
Right.
But in a couple days, dude, I don't remember what you
Yeah.
lifted, what you did. I remember what I did.
Correct.
So I mean, it's not like people are remembering that anyway. If I
Yep.
said who won the 2018, you know, Northeast region semifinal,
Yeah. I don't know.
you don't know. Like we remember those that are like the best in our sport. But other than
Right.
that, we
Correct.
don't remember things like that. So do
Yep.
what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. Guys, and like also scaling helps prevent injuries, right? Because if you're overloading your body to what you are surpassing what you are I'm trying oh crap, I can't think of the word. You are surpassing your threshold. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. That you're surpassing your threshold. Now you're risking yourself for injury. And like we say, we're trying to do this for longevity, right? We want you guys to be healthy and to move. You need to scale for longevity, safety, and for injury prevention. Okay.
For sure, huge part of this. But let's, like, everyone knows that, right? No one wants to listen to this to hear us preach about injuries, which it's 100% true. Let's talk about the sexy item about scaling. Mechanically, how you move is going to make you more efficient. And if you are moving more efficient, that means you are going to move faster,
Mm-hmm.
especially over time as you fatigue, and you're going to move more load because you're in better mechanical position as far as your levers go
Yep.
to get that job done.
Yep.
Plain and simple.
That, and you're using the muscles to their capacity, so the muscles will get stronger, so you will eventually be able to hit those toes to bar.
And yes, you are training those muscles correctly. So like if I pick up, this is the easiest thing to think of. If I pick a barbell up off the ground, where do I go? I go right in the middle of the barbell and I pick the middle of the barbell up off the floor. Doesn't matter where my grip is. I could be crooked, but I pick up generally in the middle. I do not go to the end of the barbell where I put the weights and pick up the barbell at the end. How hard would that be? They call it like Thor's hammer challenge or something. It was a
Yeah,
little challenge in the
yes.
gym for some point in time. I remember we did it one night at Riptide, and I think like 10 of us tried. One person was able to pick up the 45-pound bar.
Yeah.
One. Shout out to Matt for picking up that bar.
Yeah, Matt.
Um, so if we're gonna look at that and go, that makes no sense to pick up that bar at the end, why would I do a front squat and let my shoulders get in front of my toes?
Mm-hmm.
And just, there's a million examples we can use here.
Yep.
You
Oh, for
are
sure.
working so much harder than
Mm-hmm.
you need to work. And what I will say is when you fix that mechanical position and you really work hard at it, it feels very hard. I'm a prime example of that. I'll tell you the story in a second. It feels hard because you're probably working a group of muscles to help you stay in that position that may be weaker.
Yep.
And that's why it feels harder, but they need to play ball and catch up.
Mm-hmm.
I know you see it all the time. I'm sure you can give me a
All the
hundred
time.
stories about your students, at school that you see with injuries that
Oh my
you go, oh, your XYZ is extremely weak, and that's why you're injured right now. So it also bleeds into injury. It's not one or
Yes.
the other. It's a
Correct.
pie of
Yep.
and it's a web of all these things working together.
Yep. 100%. And, you know, people with okay, let's talk about like the limited mobility. Okay, shoulders. Guys tend to have really tight shoulders. Okay,
I get it, and
that's
it's hard.
common. Yes. Okay, but just because you're not doing the 135 clean and jerks because of your shoulder mobility does not make you a little bitch. Okay, I'm trying to basically
Not at all.
not like we need to work on that range of motion, which by the way, you should be doing on your own, right? On your own time, part of your warm up, you can ask your coaches, they'll be happy to help you and give you some exercises to help with that.
Let's add something to the range of motion though. Doing stuff on your own 100%. But if you're a coach and if you're an athlete, it doesn't matter. Not doing whatever it is that you have trouble range of motion wise and avoiding that, you are going to keep your same problem for a very long time and it's probably
Yep.
not going to get better. So, a great example, front rack. How many dudes struggle with front rack? It sucks. It's hard. I get it. I'm one of them. It's a very tight position for me. If I sit there and cross my arms on every single front squat, my front rack's not going to get better. If I
Correct.
find a way to get into the front rack that is relatively pain free, right? Difference in pain that I'm going to get hurt and different in discomfort. Those are two different
Mm-hmm.
things, two very different things. I'm not going to improve it. So, like, you've got to hold yourself to the standard to try to work in those positions and get better at them. That, like you said, that doesn't mean you got to load up your clean and jerk to 135 pounds. That may look like a barbell today.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to pass through those ranges and spend some time in them. It's discomforting. I
Yep.
know. I get it. Like I couldn't
Yep.
squat below parallel when I started. True
Yep.
story. How did I fix that? It wasn't from banded distractions and it wasn't from me going to yoga. It was from trying to sit in the bottom of a squat and 100% feel like I was torturing myself. You don't have to torture yourself, but you got to spend time in the position.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
100%. Yep.
That's how I fixed my overhead squat. I overhead squatted with the PVC pipe. It was real ugly at first. It slowly got better, and then eventually it went to a training bar. Actually, we didn't have training bars back then. It was a PVC pipe full of sand. So it was just
Yep.
like a couple pounds, and it slowly
Yep.
graduated on up. And I'm
Yep.
still working on it.
Yep. Yep. Now, okay, so let's touch on that a little bit. Now, okay, of course, there's movements that people hate, right? So a lot of people don't like snatches or overhead squat because it's hard,
But
right?
why do you hate them?
Why do you hate them? But if they're like some people will scale. Oh, I'm just going to do front rack because I don't like overhead squat. Well, but why? What's the issue with overhead squat?
because
Is
you're bad
it,
at them. But like that's the real issue,
yeah,
right? Like you're bad. Like this may be tight, and
yep,
you've got some tight shoulders or ankles or whatever. But you're really bad at them, and they're hard. That's
huh.
why we
Life
don't
is
like
hard,
them.
guys. Yeah.
That's why we don't like them. And that is the number one reason why you should embrace it that day and do it. I
Yep.
strongly dislike running.
One,
Strongly.
I'm with you, my friend. I'm with you.
That is has nothing to do with anything besides the fact I am not a great runner. So when a running WOD comes up, that does not mean I pull a bike out. That does not
Yep.
mean I pull a rower out. That
Yep.
means I scale the distance of the running to
Yep.
something that is going to be challenging, but I'm going to be able to do and keep my
Mm-hmm.
stimulus. And
Mm-hmm.
I go out there and freaking run.
And that doesn't mean that you scale the warm up and you don't run in the warm up. If running's in the
Uh,
warm up,
You
you
go
need to
run in the
run.
warm up. And
Yes.
nothing hurts my soul more than when I'm in class and the coach calls out a run in the warm up. I'm like, I don't show it, but inside it hurts really bad.
Yes.
But I go out there and I do it. Like
Yep.
I'm here for fitness. I'm here to work out. Fitness is hard.
Yep.
Doing things that we care about in life are hard. We got to go head into it. Like we're CrossFitters. We're not whatever else in the fitness world. We're CrossFitters. Part of our methodology and part of what we do is going head to head with those weaknesses. That's why the Hopper model, when we talk about fitness, what is fitness, is such an important model because we
Yep.
don't know what's going to come out and we don't know what life is going to present us. We don't get
Correct.
those options sometimes. And that's why we don't run from things that we're bad at.
General
So,
preparedness programming, guys. That's what it's all about.
and,
Gotta be
and
ready for
it's,
anything.
dude, I get it. Like you said, it's hard. Sometimes you said like the guy in the clean jerk and he feels like a bitch. I get it, man. I get it. But I promise you it'll make you better. Here's my
Yes.
quick story. So, those of y'all that know me, coaching is very important. A part of coaching
He's really
is
good at it, by the way, for those of you, for
this
the listeners.
thank you. Is demonstration, right? Not just demonstration to move very well, but demonstration you got to sometimes show bad so someone can see what they're doing wrong. So this past 6 months I was like I need to hold myself to a better standard in moving. That's not just in my metcons because members are going to look at me and they're going to be like, well, coach Nate's doing it, so it's fine for me to round my back on a deadlift. It's not, right? I need to scale the weight and keep my back flat and put myself in deadlift jail for a little bit. Um so I've been working on my demo stuff. That has looked like wall facing squats, squat therapy. That has looked like all just things like that, moving with a PVC pipe, recording myself trying to fix it. I have not loaded a barbell heavy in months, partly because I hurt myself playing flag football. We don't need to go down that
Yep.
because haven't been able to load a barbell. So I've just been working on position, like mechanics. Our rule: mechanics, consistency, then and only then intensity. If you respect it, it will respect you. And I'm going to show you
Hmm.
how right now. I have not loaded a barbell, but I have fixed my upright position in my air squat. That upright position has bled into some very light front squats, some very light snatches, very light cleans, right? We see how that progresses through. And I did a workout the other day. Hip was feeling good from flag football. It's been feeling good for a little bit now. I've been doing my PT. Um, and I decided to end the workout with a squat clean. Just build to a heavy, no expectations, have some fun, put some banger music on, do my thing. Accidentally hit a 15-pound lifetime PR clean that I have not hit since 2016, but I have not lifted heavy. Why? Because I am moving with better mechanics and I'm in a better position as far as my levers go and all of those things. And that's what moved the load. So,
Yep.
so if nothing else excites you about scaling, it will get you fitter.
Yep.
I promise that. I will go down with that ship. Anybody that says something different, I'm sorry. I've been working out CrossFit for 14 years and I will hold myself accountable, right? Our picture says real people, real coaches, whatever I put on
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
I moved very bad for the first 7, 8 years of that. And eventually I hit a plateau. PRs became very few far between. And I'm like, I'm never going to PR my clean again. I'm probably never going to PR my snatch again. And I was like, that's life now. And that was solely because I didn't have the physical ability. That was just because I needed to mature as an athlete and start moving better and hold myself accountable there.
Yep. Movement is key, guys. Mechanics is key. This is how you're going to get better. This is how you're going to be able to eventually hit a workout RX, right? It doesn't have to happen right now. Okay. You can have a goal. If you're going to, okay, Wodapalooza's in a couple weeks. Oh God, I need to, hit a 215-pound squat clean. I'm at 150 pounds. Okay. Really unreasonable expectation right there. It
But if
takes
you're doing it and
time.
you're looking like a Ninja Turtle when you're catching your clean, guess what? You ain't getting there. I
Nope, you
don't
ain't
care
getting
how
there.
many Ninja Turtle cleans you do, you ain't getting there.
Yep. Yep. You ain't getting there. That's 100%. And
You know,
it got like, go ahead.
a great story. Katrin Davis' daughter hires Ben Bergeron. You know, one of the
Yep.
first things, I don't know if you know this, one of the first things he did with her was fix her air squat. That was
Yeah, I remember.
a regional level athlete fixing their air squat. And then she won the CrossFit Games that year. Fun fact. Went back into camp and they fixed her, I believe it was her ring muscle up kip, not her ring muscle up. They fixed the kip of the ring muscle up. And I believe it was the first 9 months before she actually did a kipping ring muscle up. 9 months. What did she do that year? She won the games again. She went back to back years. So if you think working on things to correct mechanics is not going to bring you more fitness, it's just simply not true.
Yep.
It's
100%
plain and
agree.
simple. And unfortunately, I think, and you can tell me if you've done this, I had to learn the hard way. Took a long
Uh,
time for me to realize that.
so I'm gonna touch back on a statement. The Greg Glassman quote, excuse me. Men will die for points on a leaderboard. Doesn't say women.
Nah,
So
yeah, I
like
mean,
the one thing I will say as a coach,
men
like,
carry more ego.
yes, men carry more ego than women.
I think it's generally true.
I'll tell a woman member, hey, let's scale it down. Okay, sure. Not a problem. If I tell a
You gotta
man,
fight a little bit.
a little bit, I gotta fight a lot. I gotta fight a
I
lot to
will
win that battle.
I will also say, sorry, boys. I think girls are tougher in a lot of things, but Mechons too.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
think they push harder when that pain cave hits in minute 10. Generally, just very generally, it's not true across the board. Um, but it goes back to how do you get that guy to scale? If I just tell you to take weight off a barbell, a lot of times it does. There's pushback of some sort, and
Oh
like
yeah.
maybe they're doing it, but they're real salty and they're pushing back on it. And I do think there's a time and a place to be like, no, take it
Yes.
off.
Yeah.
Like that does have to exist sometimes.
Yep.
But it goes back to that test round. Test
Yes.
them.
100%.
We had thrusters the other day, and we did a test round, and I was like, if your shoulders start to even remotely get to where your toes are and in front of your toes, we're dropping load. So as we did that test round, even though people were going unbroken because it was a really nasty workout about to come out with a lot of reps, someone started to hinge forward in that squat, and I'm like, drop it, drop it. And it wasn't just me helping them figure that out, but they came off and go, oof, the third of this round, test round, was really hard.
Yep.
So a lot of them, I didn't have to say something. What did everybody do as soon as we finished those test rounds? They started pulling clips off and taking weight
Yep.
off.
Yep.
So especially on those like hard, like more stubborn people,
Yes.
give them a taste of it, and
Yep.
that's a really
Yep.
good way. And have you ever used like a challenge? Like if you don't,
Yes, I've done it a couple times.
yeah, like if you don't believe me, go
Yeah.
unbroken today and prove me wrong. And if you can prove me wrong and move well, I won't bother you next time.
Yep. Yep. Yeah,
And
like
most of the
so
time
like
they go, I couldn't go unbroken.
so today, like today's challenge, I was like, I challenge you to do your toes to bar in no more than 2 sets. If you're doing more than 2 sets, you did the wrong scaling option.
Yeah,
Period.
I love to do that. Like a set range, if like in
Yep.
the strategy, I think that's
Yep.
very helpful.
But let me see if you experience this, which I'm sure you have. You take the weight off the bar or you scale the movement. The member goes through the workout and be like, "Oh, like thanks, coach. Like, you were totally right." About how percent of the time, how many times does that happen?
All the time.
All the time.
We
All
had
the
an
time.
air squat workout the other day. Air squats, guys. Not 300 like Murph. It was 150 total in the workout. And I was like, this is a great opportunity to like really hone in, coaching the squat and air squat. So, dove in, did a specific warm up on the air squat, like really, you know, level one, level two feel like let's fix this. And then held the line, held the standard of full range of motion, standing up all the way, points of performance as they went through the workout. And we did our test round wasn't necessarily a test round that was like reps only. Our test round was this test round that was all right, we're going to do 10. I want you to do 10 as perfect as you can. Speed doesn't matter. And everyone did it. We shook the legs out, walked around or something. And then I was like, let's do another 10. Let's add some speed now. And you're going to add as much speed as you can without breaking anything. And as that was happening, I did two groups so I could coach more people on that 10. I walked around and was like queuing. So I was like trying to be very relentless and cue it. And we found not only like what the reps they were going to do, but like also the speed that they were going to try to maintain. And that's, like you said it early, threshold training.
Yep.
When I tell you, every single person either came up to me in the gym the next day or texted me that night and was like, Nate, my legs have not felt a workout like this in like soreness in a long time. And that was finding, what we're talking about, the perfect scaling option and prescription for
Hmm.
everybody, holding them to the standard of mechanics, consistency, then and only then intensity. I had people flying and I had people one, perfect, two, perfect, or
Hmm.
perfect.
Yes.
That was air quotes for you guys that don't see a video. Um, and everybody came out of that going, that was so good. And it just goes to show, I'm like, we did one of the simplest movements, right? And it also goes to show, like Glassman used to say, when you think you figured it all, this is not perfect. When you think you figured it all out, go back to the fundamentals and pay
Yep.
closer attention,
Yep.
right? And I didn't get that for a very long time, and now I do, and I go, man, like true mastery and virtuosity is really honing in to the most basic, unsexy, boring
Yep.
fundamentals. And that moves the needle on
Yep.
your one rep max snatch, on your ring muscle up.
Well, look at it like a pyramid, right? We need to have a base. Like we have our pyramid that, and what's on the first of our pyramid is nutrition, right? For movement and in the gym, it is fundamentals. Going through the fundamental movements, you need to have those perfect. Perfect. And
And how many times have you had something that you're not good at, and then you have something that is like mindless,
yeah,
and maybe it's something you're not good at that you have to take a second, you have to breathe, you have to think about how you're going to move, right? You might need to break it up more and whatever it's going to be, and then you get to jump on the eco bike.
yep.
You don't got to think a whole lot, and you can hammer.
Hmm.
That is still going to be, if you had a couplet and you had the eco bike that you hammered, absolutely just dogged, and then you have that other movement that you're like, I'm going to really stop and think about it. I promise you that workout's still going to be horrible
Yep.
as far as like a
Anything with an
feel
ego bike is
fitness,
horrible.
right? So you still got those movements that we don't have to sit there and be like, oh, mechanics, 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 mechanics.
Right, correct.
That you
Correct.
can rip and everything's going to
Yep.
be good. And that's, you can do eco bike bad too. For you
For
guys that are
sure.
listening, there is position. There's positions you can put yourself that
There's
are not going to be as efficient as others. So that's
yes.
still the case, but it's a lot easier to sit upright than, you know,
Yeah.
make sure you finish your hips on a snatch.
So and remember, like, you're only as strong as your weakest link. So I'll take myself as an example. My gymnastics. Worst part. I've been doing CrossFit since 2012. I still don't have a bar muscle up or a ring muscle up. Go me. I'm so proud. It's gonna happen this year. Okay. But I've really, whenever I have gymnastics, I really try to hone in and focus on it because the barbell, like you said, is mindless for me. Barbell is my baby. That shit is my
Jam.
bitch. That's my jam. Okay, sorry for those of you if we're not allowed to curse, but no, I'm just kidding. But
I can put explicit content when I
yeah,
post, so.
yes. Um, but like, work on your weaknesses, okay? Running again, like that's another thing I've been working on. I've been working on my mechanics and working on my breathing. Every time I go out for a run, whether it's just for a warm up, for a workout, or I'm doing a long distance run, I'm focusing on my mechanics and my breathing so I can get better. Work on your weaknesses. That's going to help you also
Well,
evolve in the gym.
and sometimes you don't see how they're connected. They're interconnected, right? If I get better at strict pull-ups and my lats get stronger, when I get on a barbell and I do my deadlifts in Olympic lifting and I've got to have active shoulders where my lats get engaged, they are now stronger. Not because I was on a barbell, but because I was on a rig doing strict pull-ups. So
Yep.
it's the black box. There's so many movements that don't, maybe at first glance, don't seem correlated to what you really love and maybe what you really want to get better at, but they are. I had somebody the other day that did not want to do knees to elbow because she was more concerned about getting her clean better. And I'm like, hold on, let's unpack this. Would a stronger back, your lats, help you on a clean? Yes. Would a stronger grip help you on a clean? Yes.
Yes.
Would a stronger core in general, right? Lats are a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Abdominals, hip flexors, all those other things that are working help you on a clean? Yes. I'm like, so
Yes.
why are we not going to get on the bar and do knees to elbow? Explain it. Like I wasn't mean at
Yeah.
all. But I'm like you have to sometimes
Explain
unpack
it,
things,
bitch.
unpack things of why. And I think that's one of the best things to ask is like you're not fighting somebody, but like I ask why all the time.
Yeah.
I had someone that didn't want to send their butt back and down the other day. I cued him line of action in a squat, and he goes no. He literally just went no. So I did not fight. I said why, and he goes because that's how CrossFitters do it. And I was like, well, one, you're in a CrossFit class, so you might be in the wrong place. And like I kind of joked, but I was kind of like, dude, are you serious? And then two, I was like, your heels are coming off the ground, your knees are collapsing in. So I got a little jargony, and I was like, so you got your posterior chain engagement's not working. So I was like, you've got bigger fish to fry than worrying about me cueing you to push your butt back. You should push your butt
Hmm.
back. So it's sometimes just asking why
But and
is
just
good
to go
because you
off
make
back,
people think and answer on their own.
make people think, and it's a teaching moment, right? Because again, as coaches, we are also educators. We're not just doing this, we're not doing this for the hell of it. We're doing this for a reason. We're doing this for the mechanics. We're doing this for proper movement patterns, for barbell path, for we want the posterior chain engagement, etc. So it's also our job to educate and like why we're doing it this way, why we're doing it that way.
You said it. It's our job, right? And I'm a big anyone that knows me. I'm really big on professionalizing the coach. We need to professionalize the coach. Like
Yep.
what we do can save people's lives. Literally, that's important.
Mm-hmm.
I do not go into my accountant's office and tell her what we're going to do because I am not a CPA. That is
Mm-hmm.
not my jam. That is not my realm. So when I step into her, she's the coach for me.
Yep.
When she steps into the gym, I'm her coach. I am now the
Yep.
professional. So I think sometimes like taking a step back, and I know there's so much shit, like we're doing a podcast right now. There's so much stuff on social media. There's so many things to listen to. There's so many opinions, and I get
Yes.
all of that. And I think you should always ask why. I think you should always do your due diligence and things like that, because I have seen plenty of bad advice, right? And I
Yep.
am also not perfect. You are not perfect. So
Nope.
no one should be on this island ever. That is an absolute. There should
Yep.
always be a listening moment and a question
Yep.
moment. Let your coach be the professional,
Yep.
right? And a true professional, when they don't know, they're going to go, I'm not sure. I
Yep.
have done it in class. I have done it with my clients. I'm not sure, but I'm going to find out for you.
Yep. And
There's the
there's no
big
shame in that. No shame in that
respect,
whatsoever.
no
Yep.
shame, because there is no one on this planet that knows everything. There's
Correct.
people that think they do,
Yep.
and those are scary people.
Yep.
Stay away from them.
If
But
you like okay, we're in that age where everything is at our fingertips, right? But as professionals, we should know a lot of the stuff, but we don't have to look it up. But it's okay. If it's a learning moment for us and it makes us better, like that's fine.
and
That's
and
absolutely
that
fine.
And that being said, as professionals, we need to do our work outside of the gym, outside of coaching class, to not just continue that education for ourselves and remain professionals, but become better professionals. And I would say that is a big problem in this space,
Yes.
that coaches don't. They go get their level one or NASM or whatever. I don't care what certificate or college degree you have, and they stop. If you have
Hmm.
stopped, I promise you, you don't even know what you don't know.
Yep.
And there is a lot of holes you got, and you think you don't. I have been there. I know. Maybe I don't know, but I partly know because I got my face punched and realized I didn't know at some point in
Yep.
time, and I got to learn the hard way. So if you're one of those people, there's no shame in it. You can always pick up a book and read it. You can always jump on YouTube and watch somebody else coach or something. Start to do those things, because I will say part of becoming a world class coach is if you don't have that knowledge, you will not teach correctly. You will
Yep.
not see, therefore
Hmm.
you cannot correct. So at the just bare minimum of what we do, you will not be effective on the simple reasons of why someone's coming to your class or hiring you as a coach.
Are we segmenting off into our episode 3 topic possibly here, Nate?
Education
Yeah, I think so.
sounds like it. Well, I
I
guess with
think so.
that being said, we'll put a bow on this one.
Yeah.
What
Guys,
any last just finishing statements that you want to just have people remember, maybe athletes or
um,
coaches?
your coaches are always right. No, I'm just kidding. Um, guys, again, like name of this episode, Scaling School. Scaling is cool and patience. Your time will come if you scale correctly and you slowly work up. Just like we talked about with nutrition, it's not going to happen overnight. It takes time and consistency. Be patient and be consistent.
I'm gonna leave it off, and I'm 100% stealing this, but it's one of my new favorite quotes. Give credit to Nicole Christensen and Connor McDonald for their episode they did with CrossFit training. They finished their call. It was about culture and just stuff related to the gym. Good enough sucks. Man, like think about that for a second. Super true.
Mm,
One of my favorite things to think about. Good enough sucks. So that's what I'm gonna leave it with. And you can tie that to anything we just talked about or anything else in your life.
love it. Sweet.
All right, Elise. I will see you next week then for our next
Yes.
topic.
Yes, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks for listening, y'all.